Hey everybody, this is Michael here from Eagle's Nest. Today I have MarshmallowRuffian, the best player in the whole server, and I have to
Blushes.
specify that that was back when Nuemon was a thing. Now
Okay,
he
well, that's a
now
bit hurtful
he's
now, actually.
still top of the ladder next to people like Vpassion and Tessero and Kfizz Pop. But Marshmallow insists on making broken toys look shiny. He's came second place tonight with 27 people playing Apocalymon. Never lost a round, but he did tie, so that's where the second place comes from.
That's such a
Marshmallow,
shame.
how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm feeling really good about my deck, and I had a great time at the tournament tonight. So
And there you are, second place. Okay,
yeah,
so Apocalymon, it is a meme deck. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but are you winning because you're catching people off guard, or am I just lying to people
I mean
and
it's
it's actually a
partially
strong
because
deck?
of that. I think that obviously, if you're playing like a rogue strategy that less people know about or have practice against, you're going to have a bit of an edge against people that are playing meta decks. Like that's always like a plus side of playing a rogue deck. However, I also think that Dark Masters is just really well positioned currently in the meta.
Okay, and what would you describe that meta as? I mean, we did do our tier list and we talked about what we thought the best decks would be, but given what you know now, because this is like a couple weeks later, what are the best decks and how do you do it into those other best decks that you see?
It's like Beat Break, Beelstar, TB, and then like there's some like subcategories of like Galactic, Reboot, uh, Metal Empire, SW. Like there's like a decent chunk of decks in the meta, but I think the main three are Beat Break, TB, and Beelstar. And I feel like I'm good into every deck I've listed so far. The only deck I think that we really have little to no game plan against is Medusa, and luckily Medusa's kind of fallen out a little bit in popularity, so we're able to thrive.
Yeah, I played Medusa today, went 2-2. I didn't get to run into you.
Thank
Uh,
God.
yeah, but you probably still would have beaten me because I don't know what your deck does. And given that I don't know what your deck does, let's address this interview as if you're talking to other Dark Masters players. What do you want to say is helping you win right now in the format? Because it looks like you have a lot of control tamers. Is that the strategy, or is it the Crimson Blaze?
uh,
Like, what are you doing that's
yes.
different?
So the Dark Masters is like an engine that we're using as a means of like staying alive and getting more value over the course of a game. The I think actual win con of the deck is our control tamers. Similar to how Royal Knights, when Huddy was a menace, played a bunch of like the like control tamers and then just ran like on the X's and was just trying to slowly stop them from doing their combo, stealing memory from them, and then killing them in like 3 to 5 turns. This deck is very similar to that. However, we do actually, I think, make better use of the Tamers than Royal Knights could ever do.
I agree. Like, you never saw Royal Knights playing, well, not never, but it was not common to see Kari and Royal Knights, and you're making use of them. But you did see Keenan, Digimon Emperor, and Hokuto. How about the Crimson Blaze? What is that in here for?
One of the current weaknesses in the deck is a exceptionally wide board with small bodies. While you can kind of like play around it and mitigate it to some extent, uh, you can also like have other tech cards instead of Crimson Blaze, such as like Death X. I think that Crimson Blaze is the best one uh, because it's such a powerful card. Not only does it wipe your opponent's board, depending on the size of it, but also if you can keep turn, you can then leverage that removal into decks like TB and remove, say, their Kaguyamon without having to worry too much about them playing out a host of other bodies or the fortitude that they might leave behind. Same thing goes for things like Amaterasu and otherwise.
Okay. Just to go back to the Tamer, this Kari caught me off guard. Can you explain what matchup this Kari is coming down in, or is it just like a good Tamer usually?
So this card is actually a surprisingly good tamer in the deck. Like I said, one of the things that I think people don't realize about Dark Masters is that a lot of these like more reactive tamers can be used proactively by Dark Masters just because of the way that our cards interact with them. So this Kari, the old Kari, and the Keenan all have effects that essentially are either us having our security removed from or cards playing out on our opponent's side of the board. And we can do all of those things without our opponent ever having to, which means that we can proactively use those tamers even if our opponent tries not to play into them. This tamer, however, is exceptionally important against a very specific matchup, being TB. One of the things I found in testing is that Susanomon kept coming down on repeat against a good TB player, and they just would not engage the board at all, and they would just continually wipe your board. You would not be able to actually plus off of the checks being done to your security, and you would just die from hand over the course of like 3 to 4 turns, but nothing really you can do about that because they would play Susano, crash the top card, do a check, delete, play out some bodies, go next, do it again next turn, do it again next turn, and they didn't care about the amount of memory they were giving you.
Hmm.
So this card is actually a way to mitigate that because doing 2 checks is actually very difficult for us to continue keep up with, but 1 check is actually a lot more manageable. So this
Okay.
card just says whenever they would trash our whenever our security stack is removed from by effects, we can suspend this tamer to give one of my opponents Digimon sec -1. So what you typically do is they play Susano, wipe your board, swing with Susano, trash your top card, and then you would suspend the Kari to give that Susano -1 check. So that way they're actually not getting the extra check in off the body. They're just getting it off the trash. So it's a lot more manageable in that sense.
Okay, cool.
Uh,
You're also like making use of the some limited to one cards. Okay, so I know the deck can use the newer Apoclymon to just drop out a bunch of level sixes and they're all gonna swing. You also have the old Apoclymon. If your opponent's low on deck count, you can just win the game on the spot by playing him. You've got a limited to one Uko. So these one of slots. Now, I was gonna say if you could play more of them, would you? But also you could and you don't because you're only playing one of this Apoclymon. So is this like the right number even though it's limited?
Honestly, it kind of feels that way. It feels very wrong to me from a deck building sense to be like, oh yeah, you would only play one of the promo Uko, one of the BT15 Apocalypse, and one of the new Apocalypse from I think it's EX10 set. However, for this deck, like looking at the ratio of our rookies, obviously we only have 9 rookies, and that's because we do care a lot more about our tamers and our level sixes, but we still want to leverage some value from our breeding area, and so being able to make use of that with high value level threes, I think is super meaningful. And I'm not sure if I could play more promo Ukos, I would, because I think the deck list is already exceptionally tight, and I'm not sure if we could fit it in anywhere else. And like you could make the argument of maybe cutting some muchos for more Ukos, but if you do that, you actually lose access to the red source, which you need for the Crimson Blaze. So there are pros and cons, I think, that you have to take in consideration for a little bit there.
Okay.
And then as for the Apox, again, like they're finishers. They're only meant to win you the game the moment you play them. And if you're not winning the game the moment you play them, you don't usually care too much. Like you can leverage the EX10 Apocalypse as a removal spell, but I think if you're doing that, you're either in a really good spot or really bad spot, and it doesn't really change the position you're in past that point. So I think I'd rather just play more tax tamers to try and prevent my opponent from killing me, rather than having excess Apocalypse amount in hand that are just kind of like breaking me.
Okay, thanks. So was there anything else that you wanted to go over that I didn't lead into?
Uh, I mean, yeah, no, I think that's about it. I think that the tamer slots are very interesting. The whole point of the deck is to just like steal turn from your opponent by punishing them from taking any actions. And I love Dark Masters. They're so cool. That's a
So you've been playing this deck for a while now, trying to get better and better performance, and it's been happening. You've been climbing every tournament. You're placing a little bit better than last time. Now you got second place. Are you gonna keep playing until you get first? If you get first, are you gonna quit the deck? Like, what's your goal here or your plan going forward?
We talked about this a little bit before, but yeah, no, I'm having a great time with the deck. I think it's probably my favorite deck since, like you mentioned, Numamon. I'm genuinely really enjoying it. The games feel exceptionally back and forth. It's a little bit like security control, and I know that is like a scary word for a lot of players, but it's a security control that doesn't rely on luck of like hitting something in your security. Instead, it's like a very slow to the ground control deck that tries to eke out advantage over time, and every action you take is so meaningful because you usually only get 1 to 2 actions per turn because of how expensive our cards are and how I think memory inefficient some of the plays that you have to make. So everything that you do in the deck feels so meaningful, even if it's only 1 to 2 plays per turn. Because a play, say like 6 turns ago that you made where you didn't add a certain card to hand, or you ended up playing out a certain card rather than something else, will end up causing you to lose the game. So you have to think very far ahead actually when you are playing this deck, and I just feel very rewarded playing it. Even if I end up getting first, I think I will continue playing the deck until I either get bored of it or some new fun stuff comes out, like BT26.
Okay, thanks Marshmallow again for the interview. You did a good job today. Sorry about
Thanks, Dad.
going to time. Hopefully, That won't ever happen again. You'll be able to finish all your rounds from
Like
here on out.
I said, this deck is like security control. I think that that's just something you have to accept. That sometimes you'll just go to time if you don't
Well,
win you game 1 and 2.
we gotta find ways to make it happen because finishing our sets is more fun than not finishing our sets, right?
That's true. That is a
All
true
right.
statement.
All right. Have a good night, Marshmallow. Congratulations on second. Thanks for playing.
You as well, buddy. Of course.